Capricorn, thanks for joining me. This is your astrology forecast for September 2015. It's really nice to be with you. I'm going to give you a rundown of what's happening this month. I'm going to have a really detailed look at the astrology, the aspects, and how they're really going to impact you this month. Okay, so the first thing that's going on is that on the 1st of September, there are a lot of planets in the element of fire. Okay, you as an earth sign, you can be very focused and practical and grounded, and you can sometimes find it difficult to change directions, especially if you're in the middle of something. The 1st of September eases that for you, and you're able to be much more adaptable and flexible than you usually are. So you can roll with the punches. If it is something negative, it doesn't necessarily need to be. And if it's a positive opportunity that it presents itself, you're actually able to seize that opportunity and go for it, okay? What's also interesting on the first day here of the month is that your Uranus actually forms a connection with Mars. And it's done that, it started that connection on the 29th of August, and it will stay there through until the 18th of September. Now, Uranus is energy and electricity and unconventionality, and Mars is desire and what you want to achieve, and it's Leo as well, which is a very self-focused sign at times. So Capricorn, what you're going to experience is there may be some friction between the way you want things done and the way you imagine things to be, and the way people in your family or your background are choosing to do things. It doesn't mean that there's no love there and that it has to be major confrontations or anything like that, but what it does mean is that I think both parties are going to be working at things differently. So expect people in your life, family members, to have certain things go on that you may have to deal with, or people may present you with new information that you can then react to, and you may agree with it and you may not agree with it. Okay, but it's a big theme at the beginning of the month. Other people impacting you at the beginning of September, and that's good that you've got that fire, because you're able to adapt and take on board this information rather than dig your heels in and say, well, you know, this is inconvenient or whatever. Between the 15th of August and the 14th of October, Neptune and Jupiter have been in opposition to each other. And your Neptune is in the 9th house, your Jupiter's in the 9th house rather, and your Neptune is in the 3rd, okay? So there's been a real push and pull between the way your day-to-day life is and where you want it to go. So there's been a little bit of daydreaming almost going on, and wanting to take practical action on that. Now, allow yourself to expand, allow yourself to take practical action. I think, again, this beginning of the month is a great time for you to take a new course, to learn something new, a new skill, to take up a new hobby, or even to travel and to explore. And to connect with your kind of dreams that way. I think traveling for you at the beginning of the month would be a great way to heal past disappointments, and to also connect you with what you want for the future, which seems a little bit veiled at the moment. I don't think you have a great sense of what the future brings or where you would like it to go. On the 3rd of September, Mercury squares Pluto, and Pluto is in your 1st house of self, actually in your sign of Capricorn, okay? So you're going to be feeling a sense of rebirth in many different areas. And I think the first thing here that is rebirth is your career sector. And I've already, it's the 3rd of September, and I've already touched on work, I've touched on travel, I've touched on family. And things are really in turmoil a little bit, not in a negative sense, but in a sense of they're regenerating. Things are moving, things are altering. And I think on the 3rd, positive information comes through your working life, which then could give you an idea of where you want to take it. So I think something presents itself on the 3rd, which gives you a clearer idea of the direction you're actually heading in. On the next day, the 4th of September, the moon squares your Jupiter and your midheaven. And this is a good day for you in terms of feeling more comfortable with what you're doing, with what other people are saying, and what your plans are for the future. I think it starts to crystallize now, it starts to drop in, and you become clearer on what your own purpose is. That is extended in the next day, the 5th of September, because the moon goes into Gemini in your 6th house of day-to-day routine, and I think you start to form a plan. I think you make a plan now in terms of what you're going to do, if you are going to go on holiday, if you are going to sign up for a course or not, and I think it starts to materialize in your mind. On the 7th, there's a grand trine in water, and this is interesting because relationships now become a theme in your life, and I think you're very good at communicating with other people openly and honestly, and to really be yourself. And this is important, especially when you're trying to figure things out. So Capricorn, it's interesting because the feeling I really get for you is that you're at a little bit of a stage in your life where things could, you don't have one specific area of focus. You could focus on family or work or travel, but there's nothing really urgent that's pushing you in one way or the other. And the way to figure out what it is you want to do is to get in touch with your feelings and to communicate with people who are close to you and who you trust, and that will allow you to discover what it is you love and what it is you want to do in future. Venus comes out of retrograde on the 7th of September as well, so it becomes much easier to connect with your feelings and to communicate them to other people. On the 9th of September, the Moon and Saturn form a trine relationship, and this day is going to look, again, somewhat, I think someone presents you with some information, again, that you're not particularly happy with or that you don't want to hear. It feels almost like other people are encroaching on your business and you feel a little bit disturbed by what you're having to put up with. And it's like, you know, back off, you know, get out of my personal space. That's really the feeling I get on the 9th. In terms of, I think for this day particularly, it's important to realize that emotionally you are secure enough and that nothing anyone can do can really rob you of your peace of mind or your emotional well-being. It's important to just kind of accept what's going on and to engage with it rather than push it away. On the 10th of September, I really see that yeah, it's a decision between one of your hopes and dreams or someone else's. You decide, do I put myself first or do I put someone else first? Only you can decide that, but I think there'll be pressure for you to put the other person first, okay? On the 12th, 2 days later, the kind of planets and the luminaries are getting ready for the new moon, which is happening in one day on the 13th of September. And there's a lot going on in your 9th house now. You've got your Sun, your Moon, your Jupiter, and your midheaven in Virgo in the 9th house. And I think the way this will feel for you, Capricorn, is that you want to get away for a little bit to clear your mind rather than listen to other people all the time and what they want from you. You want to kind of take some time and figure out what you're going to do in a practical way. I would encourage you to do that, because for you to be at a point where you don't know what the way forward is, what the direction is going to be frustrating for you. Your ruling planet is Saturn, and it likes structure. It likes to know where it's at. So allow yourself the luxury of that time to discover where you're going. Now, the next day is the new moon, and if you do decide to go away for a little bit or to just have some quiet time alone, you will be able to really bring in some harmonizing energy, some kind of beautifying energy that will make your path forward much clearer. So I recommend that you actually do that. So remember when there was the connection between Mars and Saturn when other people wanted something from you? That was the 10th of September. It may be better to stick to your own guns and to say, stop putting pressure on me, I'm not doing it. And then go away the next day or spend some time by yourself. Because you're not going to be helpful anyway if you're resenting the time spent with someone else. If you feel it would be better spent kind of figuring out your own stuff, then allow yourself to do that. Right, the new moon isn't just a new moon, it's also a partial solar eclipse. So the sun is going to be partially covered, and it's a new moon on the north node, so it is about bringing information in. So you will get some, you will be able to figure things out a little bit more and plant new seeds in terms of the direction you want to go in future. So it's a good time to get clarity going. By the way, if you want to see this partial solar eclipse, you can only see it if you're in southern Africa. Okay, 14th of September sees a small shift in all the planets, but the thing that I want to talk about here is that Mercury is in Libra all month in your 10th house. Work is not going to be an issue for you particularly. I think there's a lot of harmony in that sector. I think you feel very much at peace at your work, and I think the path forward is becoming clearer too. So build those positive relationships at work, communicate with people, and it will all kind of come together to provide you with more meaning. On the 15th, Saturn starts to square Mars. And this is interesting now because the pressure is really on and you're really going to dig your heels in. If someone kind of comes up and really puts pressure on you to either show up for their event or to listen to them or something, you're going to say, I don't have the presence of mind for this right now. I want you to step back a bit. So really, the first 2 weeks of September, Capricorn, the way you're feeling makes you somewhat standoffish. Okay, you've got your own stuff going on. You're not particularly in the frame of mind to get in other people's business, and you need some quiet time. And if people disturb that space, then you may react. So just get really clear on what your needs are with people in your life. You know, there's nothing wrong with saying, hey guys, you know, I've got some stuff going on for the next 2 weeks. I really want to figure things out. I'll be in touch when I'm done. That's totally doable. And most people will understand that. The moon creates something here, a triangle of harmony, or a small talent triangle between your Pluto and your midheaven in Jupiter and your moon in your 11th. And this is really when things start to shift now. I think you really start to have a sense of renewed purpose. I think you have a sense of renewed kind of direction to go in, and I think you can feel that. You can feel, you have an inkling of what the next couple of days or weeks are going to look like again, rather than feeling completely adrift at sea. Your feet touch the ground again. Now, the next day, your ruling planet, so this is important, it changes signs, and your ruling planet Saturn has been in Scorpio for the last 3 months. It retrograded, and now on the 18th of September it moves into Sagittarius. You're kind of opposing sign in many ways, because you're about structure in the details and Sagittarius is about over there. Okay, so it happens in your 11th house. It stays in Sagittarius now until December 2017. And Saturn makes you put things under the microscope, and it makes you look at them very clearly. And guess what? Now that it's moved into Sagittarius, it's going to make you look at the direction you're going in your life. And you were a little bit pre-sentient, or you had a little bit of a premonition with all of this, because what you've been going through in September anyway, you're now going to question the direction and the direction you're growing in, and I think that's why you've been asking yourself these questions. So the beginning period of September is really important for you to do this soul searching and to have quiet time alone and to do this meditation on your path, because when Saturn goes into Sagittarius, the questions are going to get tougher. You know, it's going to be like, well, what's the point of all of this? And if you're totally unsurprised, or totally, if that question comes out of the blue, it's like, what? Where did that come from? You know? So you do have a bit of preparation, and it's actually, I mean, it's not going to feel super comfortable, but it's going to be good, because by the end of this Saturn situation, you're going to be much clearer on your life path, and you're going to be much clearer on what your goal is. Doesn't mean it's going to take you 2.5 years to figure it out. You can figure it out in the next week if you want. It is your ruler, so you have an aptitude for working with him, but just get ready in September to ask yourself those questions. Now on the 20th, the moon starts to square Chiron here. Let's see, yep. And that's 2 days after the Saturn change of sign. You'll start to rehash the past a little bit, and you'll start to go over the directions you can't go in because of disappointments that you've had. So this is a cleansing process, it's a clearing process, and it's helpful in terms of taking you in the direction you want to go. And when I mean direction in life, it could be work, it could be relationship, it could be family, it could be spirituality, it can be anything. Work is pretty harmonious for you at the moment, but I think fundamentally and overall, you don't have a game plan, and that's what you're going to be questioning. And when you have a game plan, there's nothing stopping you. So Saturn is actually doing you a favor by forcing you to look at this, because when you have your game plan back, then you can go after it, which is what you do best, achieving things. T-square in on the 22nd. You'll hear something from either a work colleague or a family member that's going to help you along this search. So listen to the people in your life. They will really be helpful, especially on the 22nd. The moon quincunxes Jupiter on the 23rd. And even more help is available. And I think this time it comes from something that you explore or that you engage with, something that is just for you, something that you enjoy. Like maybe if you're an artist, or if you have a hobby of reading glossy magazines, or something practical that you do for yourself, is going to make you feel at ease and make you feel more comfortable within your own skin, clarify your sense of direction as well. Okay, Mars goes into Virgo now on the 25th. Yes, 25th. And that's in your 9th house. This is a wonderful time for you to travel, again, to explore, to see what other options you can take. And I think by doing it in a practical way, it's going to be very helpful. So let's say you go on a little trip, on a weekend away, or you go on a, I don't know what day the 25th is, or you go for a week's holiday, or you just, again, do something practical for yourself, where you change your circumstances in some way. It's going to be helpful for you, and you'll get more answers. And the thing about this is, now at the end of the month, it's not so much about overthinking things, it's about actually doing things. And from, putting the left foot in front of the right foot, you're going to get inspiration of what to keep doing. So the insights come through practical actions around the 25th. There is a full moon on the 28th, and this full moon is in Aries. It's called a harvest moon because it's the last full moon of the summer, really, and it's in your 4th house of family. It opposes your work house, and what this work house, like the workhouses they used to have in Victorian times, what this moon allows you to do is to let go of other people's or focusing on other people's plans for you, and it allows you to squarely focus on your work. So I don't think you're going to be particularly distracted by other people's desires for you. I think you're going to have people at bay pretty much for most of the month, and around this full moon, that distance that you've created is actually going to be helpful because you can solely focus on your work. So you're going to be really uninterrupted, and you're going to get a lot done. But again, try and watch your mood as well, because if you're kind of bumbling around by yourself and trying to figure things out, you might be in a bad mood. So just make sure you keep your mood up by doing things you actually enjoy. I think Capricorn, you're going to have to inject some fun into your life explicitly by yourself. So those days I mentioned that are good for travel, do something fun, go to a theme park or on a water slide or whatever. If you're in the Northern Hemisphere, it's the kind of last couple of weeks when it'll be warm, so make use of that and enjoy yourself. This full moon as well is also a lunar eclipse, and this lunar eclipse is on the south node, so it's about letting things go. And you can really detox this at the end of the month. So you're not going to carry this forward into October. You can really let go of this now. If you want to actually see the eclipse, you can if you're in North America on the East Coast. if you're in South America, if you're in Western Africa, if you're in Western or Central Europe. That's where you can actually see it. To finish this month, there's a grand trine in Earth now, which is your element, between Pluto in the 1st, Moon in the 5th, and Jupiter in the 9th. So this kind of funk that you've been in is now done with. You have a renewed sense of purpose. You have a renewed sense of self. You have a renewed sense of what it is you like and what you want to be with and what you want to engage in and the direction you're going in. So this month really is about figuring that out and renewing your sense of purpose. So you're like a caterpillar turning into a what? A caterpillar turning into a butterfly in September. Really, in terms of what you're trying to do. And there's that sense of rest and then really coming out and being the new you. So very regenerative, restorative, all of those things, and really try and have fun amidst that process. If you'd like a private reading with me for additional guidance, then please get in touch via my website. It's gregoryscott.com. Remember to subscribe to the channel, and you can also like the page on Facebook. It's facebook.com/GregoryScott444. Have a great September, and I'll speak to you soon.